In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in black and white emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our world.
Good evening, family. Welcome to American Black and White, where legacy meets the truth and healing begins with conversation. I'm your host, Charles Zachary King, and tonight we're diving into the heart of emotional wellness, purpose, and relationship restoration. Our guest is a woman whose work spans continents and transforms lives. Caneisha Berry is a global life coach, relationship strategist, author, and speaker whose mission is to help people live intentionally, love deeply, and heal fully. Whether she's guiding couples through the emotional complexities of the holiday season or helping individuals rediscover their purpose, Kanisha's approach is rooted in faith, emotional intelligence, and radical authenticity. Tonight, we'll explore her work as relationship coach, her strategies for navigating the holidays with grace, her voice as an author, and why Oprah Winfrey and her mother remain the most influential figures in her life and career. This episode is a gift, so lean in, take notes, and let's journey together through the wisdom of Kanisha Berry. Ladies and gentlemen, Kanisha Berry, please.
Hello, Charles.
How you doing, young lady?
I am great. How are you?
I am excellent. Welcome back, and it's good to see you. Oh, look, we're doing red.
I know, right?
Wow.
We didn't plan it.
So, is there anything you wanna and give the audience before we get going into the show?
Just a little warning that I have this horrible cough that I have been trying to tame for quite some time now. So forgive me if that comes up while we're talking tonight. But other than that, I think like your introduction kind of nailed it. I will tell you that I believe the last time we talked, I was certainly in America. Now we are living in Germany. So
Oh
it's a
wow.
late night here. So
Okay. Okay, a globetrotter.
yes.
Well, let's start with your relationship coaching, and we're gonna be talking about couples during the holidays.
Mhm.
Um, can you tell us what unique challenge do couples face during the holiday season?
I think one of the greatest things that couples face during the holidays and even outside of the holidays is these expectations that we put on ourselves. We all can, whether we mean to or not, create a fantasy about what the holidays should be or will be. And then we fight so hard to make what the image in our mind match our reality
Mm,
instead of sometimes just deciding that let me check into my reality. Maybe I can't afford Christmas this year. My reality could be maybe all these years we fought to have this big, you know, Christmas with or Thanksgiving with family. I never really enjoyed it anyway. Maybe that's reality. But
mm,
we get locked into our minds of this idealistic thing that we're trying to push and create that we don't check in with one another to see, is this working for us?
mm.
Do are we willing to give up the fantasy to discuss what would be good for us as a couple, not worried about what the family say, what others say, and if it doesn't look like our idea. I think that expectation piece is the biggest problem.
I was just having this very conversation with my promo guy because we were talking about the holiday season and just some things that people get to expect. And my thing is like I know that my parents, when we were coming up, how everybody went overboard about this Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all this other good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, like we understood, as you got grown as to what that was like. But why would we want to continue that cycle? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because it doesn't seem like that's right. And
Mm.
so I was just like, I know that there's got to be a better way of doing that, especially in today's times right now.
Um,
It's hard for a lot of people. So, like, what do you think people should be thinking about as to, especially couples or, or husbands and wives? What should they be thinking about, really for the at easement as to how they should work together on
The biggest thing I think we have to do is that emotional healing part so that I'm no longer overly consumed about what it looks like to other people if me and my family can't join the big holiday. Maybe we literally can't afford it. And so I'm not worried about, well, what are they going to think if we're not there? And so sitting down as a couple and deciding together that we're going to do what's best for us.
that? Mhm.
And that's no offense to your parents or my parents or the other people in the family. And we're going to allow them to be responsible for what they think and how they feel. And we don't need to take that on. But that takes a lot of deep reflection, right? Because most people don't live at that level where they're thinking that it's just they move from, well, this is what we always do. This is what my parents expect, or this is what our family, how can we change it? But I think when a couple can really do the thing, what the Bible talks about, cleave to one another,
Mhm.
where now I am doing all I can to make sure that my husband is happy and he's making sure that I'm happy, then we can say to the parents or the other members of the family, we're really sorry that this bothers you, offends you, or is it working for your idea or what you think is about? But we have to do what's best for us. And that takes some intention,
Mhm.
right? And it takes some, maybe it's going to take more than one conversation because surely it might be someone in the relationship who emotionally they can't even imagine. What do you mean I can't be there at Christmas time with my family?
Mm.
Like we literally this week, because we have been planning to come home for Christmas. And more than anything, I want to come home for Christmas. But you also have to be real about what is happening with the airlines right now.
Oh, don't trust that.
And my husband said he came home 2 days ago, and I said, babe, I don't think we're gonna be able to go home. He's like, do you know how relieved I am to hear you say that? He says, because I have been thinking about it. I didn't want to upset. I said,
Wow.
bro, I don't want to be stuck in the airport.
Oh wow. Um, so how do you help couples navigate family dynamics and expectations, especially at this time of year?
So I always tell my couples that they think they're having a marriage problem, but many times they're having a me problem.
Mhm.
And once I get them to buy into that, and that can be a little bit of a challenge once I can get them to buy into that and begin to do the self-reflection and the self-examination, then we can have a conversation deeper about what are these expectations that you're holding on to. Who told you that? Like who told you that it had to be that way? There's a gentleman named Vision. I can never remember Vision's last name, but he talks about this thing he called bullshit rules. Excuse my language, right? And he talks about how we will get caught up in this rule that's been set for us by society, by family, the standard of a rule that we don't challenge, we don't question. We just, well, this is how we've always done it. This is how my grandmama did it. This is how my mother did it. But we don't go, well, why did they do it that way?
Mm.
And so one of the things we do with the couples is we literally start at helping them think about, why do you believe that?
Mm.
And like one of my biggest things is always to say to the couples, okay, but is it working?
Yeah.
You know, you're fighting to be right, or you're fighting to hold on to this identity. Is it working? Well, no, but what do you want to fight for the but? Like that's the part you want to hold on to? So helping them just shift their mindset around some of the beliefs they're holding on to that they've gone let go unchallenged. So we start inviting them to challenge that. Where did that come from? Is that true now? Um, what we find, because we do this program called Think Your Way to a Better Marriage, and what we find is couples have been having the same argument in their marriage. It could be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years that they was having probably right before they got married or at the early part of their marriage. But that thing is connected to some part of their past
Mhm.
that's connected to hurt, shame, disappointment. And so it's just replaying itself.
Right.
So once we can wake them up to, oh, wow, that is it. Now we give them an opportunity to make what I call a conscious decision instead of like going on automatic pilot, what this is it, this is how it is. Is it? And then they go, oh, well, wow. Okay. Like so now we're talking about something deeper than the issue. So
Mhm.
sometimes maybe the conversation isn't about the holidays.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, like, what I've always, and what I want people especially to get, from from this conversation is, especially the people in our communities, the ones that are really, really fighting that struggle, is for them to get something get the understanding that it's not always all about spending that money like that, especially when it's not necessary.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, I hope that as we're going through this, that they're able to get some understanding and know that that's not really necessary.
Yeah.
Because I know, like right about now, yeah, of course, you know about the struggles here in America. This is like unbeknownst to anybody right now. And so I really wish that people would use this and use some logic and just make a lot of the right decisions going forward.
Yeah.
What's your advice for couples dealing with grief or loss during the holidays?
To do just that, to deal with it, to create space for it. I think one of the hardest things that I've seen people do, and I was probably guilty of it back in the day, is when a person is uncomfortable with their own emotions, their own sorrow, they certainly can't be comfortable with yours.
Mhm.
And so, like, I remember being with my mom, and someone had died, and she goes, "It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You'll be fine. Just stop crying." And I'm like, "Mama, that don't do that." And she's just like, "Well, Kaneisha, they can't just cry about it. Someone just died. Yes, they can just cry about it."
Mhm.
But my mom comes from a time when certainly emotional intelligence wasn't even a thing, right?
Right.
But to watch it play out and to see people now, they don't know how to handle grief, particularly in our community.
Right.
And and it's one thing to not know how to handle something, Charles, but it's another thing to not have enough compassion to make space for it.
Oh.
And I think that's what hurts me the most when I see it is when people tell someone, "Well, you shouldn't be acting like that." Yeah, they died, but it was last year. This. Who am I to say how long it should take someone to grieve the loss of someone they love?
Yeah.
I was listening to Steve Harvey the other day, and he said his mother has been gone for, I think, over 20 years. He says, and I still cry about that sometimes.
Mhm.
But the holidays are the worst because, again, our mental fantasies. It's the time we reflect, where we go back to what our childhood was like with a parent or a family or a loved one, and now that person isn't here. And again, in our community, we don't know how to take time or space to say, it's okay. I remember when my husband's mother died, and it was, I think she passed away, I can't remember what month, but I remember the first Mother's Day.
Mhm.
And my mom had come up to spend time with us. This was when we was living in North Carolina. And that morning, we were all supposed to go to church that Sunday morning. And that morning, my husband was like, I can't do this. And I just reversed this to my mom and I said, I need you to be okay with the fact that we're not going to make it to church today. She was like, absolutely. And my husband and I probably spent the first half of the day that morning just in our bedrooms. My mom was there. She cooked for the kids. She just did what she was kind enough to just make space. But all I can imagine, what if I was so insensitive to the fact, well, my mama's here and I know your mama passed away, but you need to celebrate. She was good. We can't do that. What did he need? He needs to be home with me.
Right.
So we need to tune into one another to say, what does what is it that my loved one need in this moment? And even if what I need is, I don't want to talk to anybody. I won't be around anybody. Can I be mature enough that when the people in my life say, I can't do what I want, I don't take it personal.
Mhm.
That their emotions aren't about me. Right? That's that's maturity. I can make space for your feelings and your emotions. And even if my ideal or my vision is, but we're all supposed to be around the table at this time, and you're over there, I can say, you know what, be over there. So I think the biggest thing we have to learn to do, especially during the holidays, check in, make space, be willing to change your original plan to create a comfortable space for the person who has lost. And maybe the grief isn't that the person has died. Because like for us, right? I remember I guess it was about 2 years ago. It was my first Christmas without our children, who are adults now.
Mhm. Oh wow.
And I woke up like, we had talked about it. We're gonna be okay. Christmas morning, I woke up and I was like, I want to do this. And my husband was like, we'll give you a little while, but you gotta come on. Like, it's still Christmas. You gotta get it together. We're gonna get up. We're gonna go to your mom's house. And I was a mess. I
Oh.
was pouting. Like it wasn't even, I wasn't adulting at all. I was pouting like a baby. Woo. And he goes, I'm gonna give you a little time with this, but come out of this, because what are you doing? So in that way, I wasn't mourning the loss of a person. I was mourning the loss of an idea of what I thought Christmas was supposed to be.
Wow.
And so honestly, for me, I needed my husband to pull me out of that, because certainly we could have been mourning a lot worse.
Yep.
So yeah.
So, how can couples maintain intimacy during stressful holiday periods?
Make time for it. Like, make time for it. We are so quick, particularly during these holidays, to put everything before our marriage,
Yep.
everything before our spouse, especially if we have little ones. Um, and again, that beautiful picture that we have in our head, we're running around town, we're trying to make sure that we have all the food we need, that the Christmas tree look, the way it has to be Instagram ready. Like, I'm always tickled when I talk to people and they're honest with me, because we go all out our way to have a beautiful picture for Instagram.
Mhm.
But tell you about, girl, if you could have been there and the kid was over here and I had to yank this one up and we just finished fussing. And What if, what if you just decided that it's okay that everything isn't all together?
Yeah.
What if I made my husband or my wife the most important thing, or set a day where we said, listen, Christmas is coming up. Christmas Eve is for us. We're gonna put the kids away and we're gonna spend a couple of hours where we just hold each other, talk to each other, look at each other. Because sometimes we can be moving so fast, we're not even looking at each other anymore. We get so busy about these lists. I say, top of the list, you got to put us.
Yeah.
Make us a priority. And what does that mean? Like, talk to each other about what does it mean to you to feel like I prioritize you? Because my love language is quality time. My husband's love language is touch and feel. What if I'm trying to give him quality time when all he wants is just hold my hand? And holding hands is not something I always want to do. But if I am being intentional, I'm going to stop. And so with the couples, let's break down and start really giving language to what it is you need. Well, I need you to spend time with me. What does that mean to you? Because I might think going to the movies is spending time, but you may think that's not.
Right.
So it's that is how we create intimacy during these holidays. Is prior to, let's have these real discussions where we go deep, we dig in, and we talk about what is it I need, what do I need to feel loved, seen, connected. And then when can we set time for that?
What role does communication play in holiday harmony?
Oh, it's everything. But it's that thing that we struggle with anyway. So I think what happens a lot of times in these holidays with communication is everybody's having communications in these pockets. Right?
Right.
My spouse over here talking to his friends about what we're gonna do, and I'm over here talking to my friends and family about what I'm gonna do, and the kids over here, they done made a whole plan with it means you have to either drive them somewhere or get them. And then all of a sudden, here comes this moment in time where people have created plans that include you without including you in the plan of the plan. So it's huge. And we have, it's a great thing about life. Is, Charles, we have the opportunity to go back and look at the year before and say, what didn't we like about last year? What was great about last Christmas or last Thanksgiving or the holiday season? What was great about it? And what was something that we could have done without? And so let's talk about that. And then let's be okay with the fact that maybe you love being around all those people. I remember there was a couple where the husband was an introvert and the wife, she wanted to be at every party. And they disagreed, particularly when they was hosting things at the house. They agreed that he would stay in his room for as long as he could, and she would be gracious enough to allow him like that time to decide when he could come down and give energy to all the room. But she didn't demand that he be there in the room from the moment the door opened to the moment to the last guest. They communicated, this is what I need, babe. I don't have the emotional energy to do what you do. And so it's just a conversation, but it's a conversation with grace. It's a conversation where we are not worried about, well, what are people going to say if we go to this party and you upstairs? I don't care what they say. Right? I don't care where's your husband? He here, he upstairs, he'll be down when he's ready. We can easily get so caught up in worrying about what are they going to say. One of the most beautiful things I saw is 2 weeks ago, I spent the week down. We went to Dubai. My cousin was celebrating her 50th birthday for the week. And her husband had to work, but he was there. And I said to her, I said, I am so proud of you and John. And she was like, why? I said, because you haven't demanded that he be here for every little thing, because what are people going to say? And she says, girl, it's because I know who my husband is when nobody is around.
Mhm.
Why am I going to stress him about being at these like gatherings? Well, he has other things to do. Her husband went to play poker because his poker night was during the time of the like, I mean, it was like 20 people there for the whole week. But his poker night was there, and she did not go. She wasn't one of those wives who was like, "How you gonna go play poker when my family and my friends are here?" She was like, "John's going to play poker," and I was like, "That's so mature."
Mhm.
And so, if we could do more of that, where we don't require our spouse to be something that they're not even because you have a problem with it, because you're worried about what the people around you are going to say about it.
Yeah.
That's the gift.
So, how do you coach couples through financial tension during gift giving season? Because I know it's got to be a lot.
Yeah. So we have this thing in the program where we teach couples how to what we call having the tough conversation. Because
Mhm.
there are a lot of conversations that are avoided in marriages because they're what we call hot button issues.
Mhm.
So money is definitely a hot button issue. And so imagine money in the holiday during the holidays. I was listening to a podcast recently where it was a call in. And the wife, no, the husband wanted to know, how can I convince my wife, or was it the wife? They had agreed, that's what it was. The wife, they had agreed that they would only buy, they had three daughters. They was gonna buy the daughters only one gift because they was traveling. They was gonna go to like Paris for the holidays. Well, the wife wanted to know how could she explain to her husband that, listen, I got these girls a whole lot of stuff and I need him to be okay with it.
Oh.
So how do you handle that conversation? Do you know how much emotional work I would want the wife to do to find out why did you need to get them a lot of gifts? Because that's to me where it starts. This is not about, we can pretend like this is a conversation about the money and the agreement, but let's start with, what does that mean to you? What is the story you're telling yourself about yourself as to why you need to spend all this money on gifts that you know and I know that kids are going to forget? So we'll start with that. We're going to go deeper as to what is driving
Mhm.
the motivation behind how much you're spending. What is the belief you have about what's the difference between a $10 gift or $100 gift? Like, why does the 8-year-old have to have the latest iPhone? Is that really about them, or is
Mhm.
that some of your stuff? And so then we can, once we have that conversation, get that level of clarity, you can now move into, how do you guys communicate about the actual number or the budget that you set?
Right. What are some rituals or practices you recommend for couples to stay connected?
Mm. Everybody says date night,
Mhm.
and I certainly agree. Date night is huge, but I also think it's important to, it doesn't have to be a whole night, it doesn't have to be anything special, but setting again time and attention to, maybe when my spouse comes home, I'm turning off everything,
Right.
giving full attention, um, asking. So recently I posted a video where I said, ask your spouse on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate our marriage? And
Mm.
then be mature enough to hear the answer without getting offended. Because
Right.
what if they say 3? Right? That could be like, oh, 3. That's
Ooh, they'll be like, wait a minute, what's going on?
right. But okay, so here's opportunity for communication, and let's find out what's happening that you have it at a 3. But then the next question is, what 3 things can I start doing to get us to a 10?
Mhm. Wow.
And so just that little thing of being willing to listen to your partner and hear, But remember, men and women are different. And remember that clarity is everything to a man. And sometimes for women, we're all over the place. And so it can't be, it's a three, and this is why, and because, and last week when you did this, whoa, like, let's get clear. 3 simple things I can do to make this better. Like, right. So those kind of
So, how do you help couples set boundaries with extended family?
oh, that's good. That's good. For me, everything starts with the internal, I call it what I call the mind monsters or your internal voice. You can't set a boundary if you don't already have a standard as to what does it mean to protect this marriage. It's going to be extremely hard to set a boundary if you really still think and believe that your parents have as much say in your life as your spouse. So we push that, the Bible, cleave to your husband's wife, cleave to one another. Marriage is the priority. And understanding that a true boundary only works if there's a consequence.
Mhm.
So if you can't say, well, you're not allowed to just show up at the house, and then every time they show up at the house, you let them in. And then you're mad, like, I don't get why they keep doing this. Well, there was no consequence to the boundary.
Mhm.
So if you're just going to keep showing up unannounced, understand this. When you show up unannounced, I'm not opening the door. You just gonna let me stand out here? Yeah, because we've asked that when you come by, you give me a call.
Mhm.
And so you begin to run with the couple. We got to get y'all on each other's side, where you realize the most important thing in this relationship is each other. And if anytime you think the most important thing is anything other than each other, we got to start there. Because you're not going to set a boundary against someone you think is as important as your spouse or more important than your spouse.
Right.
So that's the start.
Um, what's one myth about holiday relationships you love to debunk?
A myth about holiday relationships.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of any myths that I know. Well, I think it's influenced by all of these holiday movies.
Mhm.
You
A
know,
fantasy.
yeah. And I think the biggest one would be that life is not a fairy tale.
Yeah.
And again, be willing to evaluate and fight for in a good way, your reality instead of fighting each other for fantasy.
Mhm.
Um, because I think this whole idea that word should, well, it should be like this. You should do this and you should do that. Those they have to be debunked and they have to be um examined. What are your shoulds is one of the things I would say.
So, how do you help couples rediscover joy together?
Oh, that's good. Only when they can discover it for themselves individually.
Mhm.
So recently, I was talking to a couple, well, actually a gentleman, and he was sharing how he hasn't been very happy, and had nothing to do with the relationship, just within.
Mhm.
But his idea was, I'm going to protect the one I love because she doesn't need to know all this stuff that I'm carrying.
Oh, the
Yeah,
baggage.
right. Well, what happens is that creates a level of disconnection where now it feels like something's wrong, but you're telling me nothing is wrong.
Mhm.
And because we tend to think that, well, because we're in a relationship, I can tell something's wrong. It must be something wrong with me or something wrong with us in this relationship when it has nothing to do with the relationship, but you're not communicating that.
Mhm.
Therefore, if you cannot share your sadness, you can't share your joy.
Wow.
And so what I would tell couples is let's make sure individually you are clear about your own joy before you try to have it in a marriage. I had a dinner with a group tonight, and we was discussing just that. What brings you joy? And we were all sitting around the table like, it's been such a long time since as adults that we play, right? And your play could be like maybe you love knitting, someone else loved to still draw a sketch. But when is the last time you did something just for the simple joy of it? So it's going to start with the individual before I can say, as a couple, you need to have joy. Because I think that's one of the worst things is we can tend to want to make our spouse responsible for our joy. But I'm supposed to bring joy with me into the relationship, not expect him to give it to me.
Oh, well, I mean, now that right there in itself sounds very convoluted, and that does not seem like something that can compute and work together.
Oh, no.
Because that sounds like it's very, very different and very opposite, and one is like giving, and one is just receiving.
No, and that's why we have to be responsible for our own emotions,
Hmm.
right? So if I'm walking around with no joy, of course my husband's going to feel that energy, but it's not his job to make it okay, like make me better. He can observe, he can say, is there anything I can do? But I have to tune in and go, there's something in me that's missing or lacking right now that I need to give attention to so that I can feel what we call our my own joy cup.
Hmm.
And so that when my joy cup is full, there's a saying like, when my cup is full, what runneth over is for you, but what's in the cup is for me.
Right.
And so as individuals, if we go out and man, like, we're having the best time in our own special thing, right? Like my husband, if this brother could play flag football or basketball every day, his joy cup is runneth over.
I understand that.
I can't give that to him. He has to do that. Right?
Right.
But then he gets to come home, and what I get to experience from him is this glee, this excitement about life because he's full on the inside. He's not coming home to get full.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's so important. We have to have our own thing that brings us joy, and then we just get to share that
Mm.
with our spouse.
Let's move over to life coaching and the individual support during the holidays. Why are the holidays emotionally triggering for so many people?
So that's so packed, Charles. That's so packed. We have to remember everyone's childhood, particularly during the holidays, wasn't always pleasant.
Mhm.
So Christmas in my house may meant one thing, but Christmas in your house may mean another thing. And so it's triggering because many times we don't even deal with the stuff from our past. It can be triggering because now I have to go and be around some people who really did hurt me as a kid, and I'm not even allowed to talk about it. So now I'm sitting across the person who hurt me, abused me, mistreated me. But it's the holidays, so I gotta be happy,
Mm.
right?
Oh, wow.
It's holidays are so packed with the so packed with the opportunity to be triggered, right? Just some of us have been hustling to make sure that our kids have this Christmas that we never had. Not because our kids want it, but because we are determined that, when when I was growing up, my parents couldn't give me this, so I'm gonna give my kids everything. That's a trigger.
Yeah.
And so even though it's coming out and it looks good, but what if you did that at the expense of a whole lot of credit card debt?
Ooh, that's it. Not excuse the French, but that wouldn't be cute.
Right. So and we do it it's so easy to do it so unaware of why you're moving, and
Mhm.
then later go like, oh dang, right? And then and I always tell my clients, the way it shows up is you then when you're by yourself, you go, why did I do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Why did I do that? And so the why do I do that is an invitation for you to begin to explore and dig deeper. But sometimes we just go, why did I do that? I don't know. Okay. No, that's when you're supposed to stop and go, why did I do that? What emotion was I longing for? What desire was I trying to get met? What was I trying to do that made me go out and make this choice or decision that I knew wasn't good for me in the time of making it? But if we just go, oh well, and we keep repeating the cycle. So yeah, Christmas is the holidays triggers everywhere, I imagine.
Yeah. Um, what's your approach to coaching clients through seasonal depression or anxiety?
It depends on the client. I always, if my client is capable of taking a thought captive, I can work with them when it comes to depression, anxiety. If they can't do that, because sometimes that brain moves so fast, that mind, not the brain, the mind moves so fast, they can't like meditation, connect to breath, breathing, slow things down, hear what's going on in your head. If they can't do that, Charles, they need more help than what a coach can provide. They may even need medication. And yeah, and I don't say that to be disrespectful, but like if
Yeah.
your mind is racing all the time
Oh wow.
and you can't grab hold, you may need a little bit more help than what a coach can provide. But if I can help you take a thought captive, meaning let's write down the dominant thought that's stopping you, not the sentence, not the paragraph, the thought, then we can start dealing with like what is true. So we then begin to build a case against the thought that causes the depression.
Wow.
So that's typically how I help out my clients. That I have different tools like that I use.
I just when I just think about, this in general, I think to some extent it seems like there's a lot of people that have that that we call it that holiday depression thing or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when it hits, sometimes it's least expected. And so I was like, I will tell you, last year during this time. Now I will tell you that I was kind of like feeling a lot of that because it was the first holiday season without my mother because she died June 30th of last year.
Mm,
And so even though, I'm an adult and I'm going through all this, that and I done been out the house for like God knows how many years. But when she was gone, and it's like I could not pick up the phone and call and normally do the little laugh and jovial things that we do on the phone. And it's like she's not here.
mhm.
And so that kind of like it kind of like hit. And so like some of those things you were talking about, like how you go and you get over in a little corner. I come down here in my office, I just sit and I just be to myself and I just get it out because I have to let me just do me right there at that point in time. But that happens during the holiday season, and I'm just wondering, like, could the contributing factors be like, if you are really used to having close knit families, or is it just something that's just a part of people that are just missing that
Yeah.
causes that?
Yeah, I think the thing we have to realize is that grief is a human experience. Loss is a human experience. And we need to begin to allow ourselves to have that human experience. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with you for feeling sad or missing your mom or missing whoever. It's nothing wrong. And I think because we're so conditioned It's the holidays. You should be happy. Come on. That we can then not only feel sad about missing someone, then we beat ourselves up for it.
Yeah.
So now it's the double whammy, right? I would encourage and I always say this, when you're ready, find a way to do something special for that person about that person during the holidays. Like a new way of bringing them into the holidays because they can't physically be here, but we're spiritual people, so we can believe spiritually they're still here. So what can I do? Can I make something, I've been thinking a lot about my grandma lately. And I thought, wow, it'd be so cool. I found a picture of my grandmother when she was very young.
Oh, wow.
And I had never seen it when she was alive. And I was thinking today, how cool would it be to ask my grandma, what was going on in your life at that time?
Mhm.
So I've been thinking maybe what I'll do is gift this picture to every daughter and every granddaughter in the family for Christmas as a way of bringing my grandmother into the holidays for Christmas. So we can find a way to still celebrate them and include them, but also allow ourselves to feel bad, cry, let it out, Don't let any shame be attached to that.
Mhm.
And then, one of the things, there was a group organization that I used to work for, Church Initiative. They have this support group called Grief Share. Some churches run it. Get get around other people who've lost. They had a program called Surviving the Holidays. Don't don't try to do this in isolation. Like, be with other people who've also lost so that you can support one another. Because the person who hasn't really dealt with that level of loss, they care, but it's kind of hard for them to really support you in maybe the way you need to support.
How do you help clients set realistic expectations for the holidays?
We begin to break it down, like, because let's talk it. Let's talk it through. Uh, it's if you have a $20 budget, it's unrealistic to try to have $1,000 Christmas.
I'm sorry, but that's funny, but you so oh Lord, that's where all that debt come in.
Yeah, yeah, and so we begin to get realistic or set new expectations, or sometimes it's just will you allow yourself to rewrite a new story for you and your family that's different from the one you had? Will you allow um, yourself to let go of guilt, shame that's around this notion that Christmas have to look a certain way? So we begin again to challenge the thoughts. Where did it come from? Why do you believe that? Is it working? Is it serving you? Whose idea was this? Are you still doing Christmas the way your mama did? Well, my mama always did Christmas this way. But can you afford a, $20, $30 ornament every year, or whatever these things are that we always do it this way? Can we create new traditions? So yeah.
What's your advice for people spending the holidays alone?
Oof. I would do encourage people to find other people.
Mhm.
Charles, I was with a group tonight, totally new. I'm new to Germany. I don't know any of these people. Literally, a lady earlier this week, she put in a group of expats. Hey, would anyone like to meet up for dinner tonight? Or not dinner, for drinks.
Oh, wow.
5 of us sat together and met. And the conversation was about how lonely everyone is.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Because we're in this new country. We're not with our family and friends.
Mhm.
Um, and then to hear the conversation talk about, because so I have a husband, but some of these people are single, and they're like, People are so addicted to this thing.
Yep.
There's no meeting each other in public anymore. You meet people in a room online, then you come out of the room and you only want a personal chat, text each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what's happened to us as a society, but we've got to be willing to get back in rooms with each other. And so the person who's alone, I think one of the coolest things I ever heard about being lonely, Tony Robbins, he said loneliness is a signal to reach out to other people.
Yeah.
And so what we tend to do is we spiral down our self-pity. Oh, woe is me. I don't have anybody. But if we recognize that loneliness is literally an invitation to say, okay, if you're lonely, there's no one else lonely. Call somebody, reach out to someone, join a group, join a church, go serve somewhere. Be the person who create the situation. I always say, if there's something you desire and it doesn't exist, create what you desire. Just create what you desire. Meaning, I don't want to have Christmas by myself. I'm in this new country. What am I going to do? Well, I got this group. Hey, is anyone else going to have Christmas by themselves? Sure, there's going to be somebody in that group. Can we come together and have it?
Yeah. Okay.
So you reach out, you ask, don't let shame, don't let I call them the mind monsters convince you that, well, don't nobody want to spend time with me. Everybody else has family. I'm the only one. No, you're not. You're never the only one. And so get out your comfort zone. Let people know. I don't have anyone to spend the holidays with. Can I come be with you and your family? It's a wonderful time because people love, like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Our first year abroad in the UAE, Charles, we had so many people in our house for Thanksgiving. I didn't even know there was people because it was a big old apartment. Like,
Right.
and someone said, Caneisha, something about the person. I said, who? I don't know who that is. They said, girl, you got people in your house you don't know. I said, yes, because I told everyone, if you know of anyone who doesn't have anywhere to go, they're welcome here.
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't want anyone spending Thanksgiving by themselves in a country they didn't know anybody. So my house was full of people. I was meeting them for the first time at my door. My only thing was bring something so it's enough for everybody. So create what you need, right? Let people know. I will host. I will. Don't get overly consumed about how and why. It is not right. I need comfort. I need friends. Come be with me. Or can I come be with you?
That was. I hope that a lot of folk got the heartfelt part about that because I remember is when I was growing up, especially during this time of year, and that when you found a lot of people that were alone, they normally did the ultimate, you know. And so that's why it's just like I don't know what it is about this part of the year, but this part of the year brings the wrong thing out in a lot of people.
Yeah. It's those movies, Charles. It's those movies. It's the expectations. It's the fantasy of what life should be. And my life doesn't look like the fantasies. So we tend to think, well, there must be something wrong with me. When the truth of the matter is, none of our lives look like the fantasy.
Right.
But when you're by yourself, you don't have anyone there to convince you that you're being by your, like, how many people are in a room full of people and still feel by themselves?
Yeah.
So we have a real lonely crisis thing that's happening in society now.
So, how do you guide clients in creating meaningful holiday traditions? Because I think that's what a lot of people are missing is creating their own.
Yeah. By first inviting them to allow themselves to break the rules that maybe they've bought into. right? You inviting them to accept that they can. Sometimes we're so conditioned to a certain way of thinking that we think we're doing something wrong and we have a new tradition, right? So because we have lived abroad for over 15 years now, my children were small. Charles, imagine trying to have a tradition of waking up every Christmas morning. We're going to open gifts under the Christmas tree. We never knew where we were going to be.
Mhm.
So one of the things I thought, well, I don't know where I'm going to spend Christmas with my kids, but everywhere you go, I imagine we can get a waffle iron and some ice cream.
Mhm.
I can always promise them a Christmas tree.
Right.
So one of our Christmas traditions became breakfast, Christmas morning, waffles and ice cream.
Mm.
And I didn't grow up with that. Yeah, you let your kids eat ice cream for breakfast? Yes, on Christmas Day.
Right.
And so you just have to decide that, listen, my life may be so different from my parents and the way I grew up. We have to be open to having a new tradition or a different tradition or doing it a different way.
Mhm.
And then inviting the client to let's explore, let's dream.
Mhm.
Like to me, one of the coolest things is to have a session where we do nothing but dream.
Wow.
Right. And for some clients, that's so hard. Like,
Mhm.
because they have an idea and then they want to try, but I don't know how I would do that. I'm like, that's not what this session is about. We're not figuring out how. We're just dreaming like tomorrow morning you're gonna wake up and all you're living a life that you've always dreamed of. What does that look like? So
Wow.
some of it's just even Charles breaking the pattern of them not even allowing themselves to dream of anything different.
Mhm.
So that's the work, right? Because then they can dream up what does a new tradition look like.
So, what role does gratitude play in your coaching during the season?
It's so interesting you ask that. Gratitude is everything. So I'm a Christian, but also this is what I love about spiritual teachers. I feel like spiritual teachers know all of the wonderful tools and techniques to use.
Mhm.
But sometimes in Christianity, we get so caught up into the don'ts. I don't Christian. I don't curse. I don't drink. I don't. What do you do? But spirituality is how can I be as close to God as possible? In gratitude, giving thanks and forgiveness is what in this in spiritual world they call that like high frequency. The highs of frequency is gratitude and forgiveness.
Mhm.
Well, those are like the very essence of who God is. He has forgiven us of all of our sins, and He invites us give thanks every day and everything. Give thanks. So just taking time. I had a client one time. She was really struggling with negative self talk. So we did a gratitude jar. Just get your jar every day. I told her just I had told her just put a marble in for every time she had something grateful. But she decided to get these cute little stickies and she began to write down one thing she was grateful for and fill up her jar. And she was so excited because she could see it.
Wow.
Because sometimes we can say, well, I'm grateful for my family, but your mind can get bombarded with all the other things that's not going well that it slides by. But if you put it in a something physical you can see, you get to look over and go, wow, look at all those like notes or marbles or something I have to be grateful for. And it's a constant reminder. So gratitude is everything. It shifts your energy, it moves you to a higher level, it places you in, I heard this lady say today, This is how she spent time in the kingdom of God, is in gratitude.
Mhm.
So it's everything.
Wow. So, how do you help clients navigate holiday related trauma or family
Mm.
tension?
Holiday related trauma. The hope is that they're ready to talk about it.
Mhm.
The hope is that they're ready to deal with it. And once we begin to name the trauma, identify it, then we can begin to reframe it.
Mhm.
Um, Repurpose it. I always say that if you don't use your pain is going to use you.
Yep.
And so until you take hold of it, has a hold on you. And so in during these holiday seasons, just like any other time, we're going to we're going to identify the hurt, the pain, the trauma, the shame. We're going to give a name to it. We're going to see it as a thing that happened to you and not see it as your identity.
Mhm.
Because many times what trauma does, it begins to distort your identity about who you see yourself to be.
Takes hold.
Takes hold. So now we can separate you from the trauma. This is a thing that happened to me, but this is not who I am. I didn't do anything to deserve this. Then we begin to reframe it. Now that this happened, or even though this happened, I am still wonderful, beautiful, fabulous, smart, intelligent. Now we're reframing. And then we can begin to build a bridge about, okay, who am I outside of the trauma? And so it's just a process that, we walk them through
Mhm.
so that, again, for me as a Christian, I help clients who are Christians. We begin to see our identity and who we are in Christ and not who we are by the things that happen to us.
What's your strategy for helping clients avoid burnout during the holidays? Now you know that's major because that is definitely happening. Everybody's on Club 5,000 with all these parties and all this food. All they they doing the whole nine.
So I can't even tell you. Self-care is a real thing, but it's so challenging. But it all starts back with that identity piece.
Mhm.
It just does. I don't know how else to reframe it. I wish I had some other tools and strategies, but they all come back to the same thing.
Mhm.
It comes back to, what are you telling yourself about what happens if I miss the party? What do I tell myself? Um, or what am I afraid they're going to think about me? It just all comes back to mindset, mindset, mindset. And so the best I can do, it's offer you tools and strategies on, let's begin to tap in to who you are, where you are, what you're believing right now, and what do you need moving forward. Right. And then are you willing to take the rest, take the break, take the time off, say no,
Mhm.
you and are you willing to address the issues that around why you are afraid to say no?
Right.
So we have to dig into that work. And then once we begin to do that, then I can set them up to recognize that they are in control and they don't have to be controlled by the situation.
Yep. You know, it's just that just thinking about that though, and me thinking about just the holidays in general. Um, when when I can remember like maybe 5, 6 years ago, everybody having all these parties, you getting all these invitations. I just got to the point that, it was like, nah, No, thank you. Have
Yeah.
fun. I just, I think, again, I think as you start to get older, though, I think you start to realize that I mean, that's fun and happiness, I guess, to some extent for a lot of folk. But I think the younger you are, the more you enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I think once it becomes that repetition over and over again, at least I know from my perspective, I just don't think that it's really worth just continuously doing that. Because again, I don't know, and I'm not a Scrooge now. I'm happy when folk go out there and have that fun, but that ain't me. I'm not doing that no more.
Yeah.
I'm past that. But I'm just I mean, like, when they think about the joy, the jovialness and so forth, and like we mentioned burnout, what is it that would make you think that after all this time, I mean, just thinking out loud here,
Yeah.
what makes people think that they can just keep doing that and then knowing what the end result's going to be, but do they think there's going to be some consequences behind it? Why do
Yeah.
you think that they just keep doing that?
It's the wiring. It's the way we are hardwired, right? Well, this is what we always do.
Hmm.
Um, this is what it means. This is what Christmas means. Of course, you show up at every party. How can I go to this party and not go to that party? We're in the same circle. If Jane invite me to a party and I don't go to Kim's party, then Kim gonna be feelings gonna get hurt. Again, we're so conditioned, Charles. We're conditioned and we don't challenge the condition. We're conditioned and we're too afraid to say, listen, please understand this isn't about you. I'm not like, is there any other way I can show up for you or serve, but I can't come to these parties, right? It's the conditioning. But then all of a sudden, also you have people who are insistent on making you responsible for their emotions.
Hmm.
And that's one of the hardest things is to be bold enough to say, I am really sorry you feel that way, but that's on you. Like my deciding not to come to your party because I don't have the energy, I don't have the desire, I don't have the wherewithal to be there. And you're making it about, well, you must don't love me. You don't care. That's your stuff. I never said that. And I look forward to the day when, as we get adult enough to allow people to stand in their truth without me taking it personal.
Do you think that's possible? Because I mean, no, that really is that. I mean, that sounds like something that's really logical. But do you think that's possible? Because as you just mentioned, somebody's upset because you didn't come to a party,
Right.
and so it's like, well, you have to come to my party.
No, but I don't.
I just think about that when I was so much younger, and I just remember all that, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I must have been crazy, and fell off the tree, and hit my head, and I was just delusional at this point. But
Yeah.
when I think back for all those years and actually doing that, I'm like, that is crazy.
Yeah.
That is really crazy. I mean, there's like at least 10 parties all in 1 week, and you have to go to all these parties.
Yep.
No.
Yeah. 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 It's a bit much, but do I think it's possible? Maybe not, but you have to get to a place. I was listening to Brene Brown recently. She's kind of resurfaced because I've been like, where's Brene? I love Brene Brown. And she said she was at a gathering and she was around a lot of women and she's like, oh, she knew that if she wanted to kind of fit in to the group, she would have to kind of hustle for her worth, right? She was like, I knew all the things I could do to fit in. And then she said, and I thought, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. She's like, I'm at the place in my life where I refuse to betray myself to fit in. And so she teaches this thing, the difference between fitting in and belonging.
Mhm.
And so we have to decide, am I fitting in? Right. Well, I just want you to see me. Do I belong? And belonging means you want me there as much as I want to be there.
Right.
And so I say, show up to the parties of the people that where you belong. I had an experience, honestly, during my cousin's party, because I have a group of cousins. They're super close, which I love that they're close. But and they are always, Kanisha, you know it's not like that, like because they forget me, they leave me out.
Right.
But whenever I call them on it, I'm the bad person. And I had a moment where I realized I was like, oh, I finally get it. I am always welcome, Charles. I'm just not always included.
Mhm.
And I don't even know if they are aware of it, but that was the moment, the realization I had while I was there. I was like, I'm always welcome. Meaning, if they're having something, they're doing something, Kanisha, you can come. I can come, but nobody's going to pick up the phone and call to tell me to come.
Mhm.
I'm not included when they're planning, when they're thinking about what we're going to do. I don't show up on the list. But if I find out about it and I say, hey, I heard you, girl, you know you can come. And I believe them and I am welcome. It's just that I'm fitting in,
Yeah.
you see? And so you have to decide, am I going to keep living my life where I feel like I'm fitting in, or do I want to go where I belong? And I'm at the place where I want to go where I belong. And even if where I belong isn't necessarily with my family,
Mhm.
I've learned to be okay with that. It's a constant process. And again, I don't say, well, it's because they don't love me. It's because no, it's simply because our journeys are different.
Okay, that's nice.
Our journeys are different. And their difference is not good or bad. My difference is not good or bad. They're just different. I love them. I have a great time when I'm around them. I know they love me. And I don't question their love because of that.
Mhm.
But I have to decide that I have to be honest and be like, okay, I am always welcome, but I'm not always included. And is that enough? And so I say the same thing for these parties. Is that enough? Is it enough to be like, well, girl, I was here, but I'm exhausted, I'm burned out, I'm stressed. I haven't spent time with the people who really want to spend time with me because I didn't want to let anyone down from this party. But now you let yourself down.
Mhm.
So you have to at some point decide whether you are worthy of your own peace, joy, and love.
Mhm.
Maybe at the expense of theirs.
Mhm. How do you coach clients to stay grounded in their values?
By helping them recognize what their values are, Charles. Do
Mhm.
you know how many people don't know what they value?
Mhm.
If you ask a person what they value, they tend to go to a couple of things. They'll say, oh, I value family. I value God. But if you ask them to go deeper, they're like, what do you mean? Some people say, you know what, I value money. But no, if you had the money, what is it that you would want to get? Will the money give you love? Will the money give you the attention you want? Will it make you feel significant? Because those are the values, the thing that's behind the thing. Oh, I value my family. But what about your family that do you value? Do you value the quality time? Do you value the sense of belonging? Do you value that you feel like, I'm a part of a unit? So the way I help them is begin to identify what they value, because your value will determine your decisions. And so many people don't know their values.
Yeah, that is 500% true.
Yeah,
What's one holiday coaching success story that stands out to you?
that's a good one. Man, I can't remember where I actually coached just around the holidays. Um, it's usually about so many other things. It's kind of this. Uh, Again, I don't think it was so much about the holidays. I had a couple who they were of different cultures,
Mm, mm,
so we had to do some work around the idea of the fighting about well, which one of us are right? Because this is how my family always did things, and this is how my family always did things. So I think the success in that situation was once they both agreed that they could allow themselves to create their own traditions, their own methods, their own strategies, instead of trying to impose the other family strategies into their marriage. Like they it was so cute because there was a younger couple, and it was as though they never considered the fact that they could rewrite their own story.
mm.
So I think that was like one of the coolest things to see these moments where they're like, huh, I don't have to do it. Wait, my family did it. No. Now you all are family. You have to decide what works for you all. And they're like, and so they took time to figure that out for themselves. And to come to find out some of the family traditions they was fighting for, they didn't even like. It was just right. So yeah, that was a cool thing. It was a younger couple. I can't remember what two countries they were from, but the fight was, and it wasn't so much around Christmas or the holidays. It was just around recognizing that how do we merge these two different cultures by creating a new one.
Well, so let me just go through this. When we talked about Black history, you mentioned that Oprah Winfrey, your mother, and Lisa Nichols were your were the most influential people in your life and your career.
Yeah.
Can you tell us why is Oprah Winfrey such a powerful influence in your life?
I can Oprah honestly, before I started being a life coach, back in early 90s, Oprah was talking about things that now we all get. She was the first person who brought out this concept that you're not your thoughts. At least she was the first person I heard bring on people that talk like that. That she used to talk about soul work before we knew what soul work was. So she helped me to see that my life was bigger than the moments that I was having. She helped me to connect to the notion that I was created for more than just getting up every morning, going to a job I hate, taking care of some kids, buying a house. She helped me connect to that bigger part of myself. So that was what Oprah, like, that's what she represents for me, helping me realize that life is about so much more than the mundane.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't know, like I didn't have anyone in my immediate circle or my family talking about the things that she was talking about.
What lessons have you learned from Lisa Nichols about speaking and healing?
A few. One of the favorite things I learned from Lisa Nichols, and she talks about this with family, is to like Lisa talked about how there was several people in her family who could use her programs, but they would never ask her for help. And finally, she got to a place where she was like, you know what? This is the one place I can go and just be Lisa, where they expect me to show up every time with a macaroni and cheese. They don't care that I've toured the world or that I've just come off a stage. They're like, you're just Lisa. So she helped me to realize, like a lot of times people will say things, particularly have a business. My family don't even support me. They're not there for me. My friends, they don't buy my product. Lisa helped me realize they're not my customers. They're my family. They're my friends. They don't have to. And
Mhm.
so I didn't have to take that personal. It's not about me. It's about me being able to be the Caneisha that they know me to be without all the like my coach's hat on. Like I can go there When I was with my family, we buy and act up and act crazy, and no one is going, but you're a coach. You should know better. No, I'm Caneisha. So she helped me to understand that I don't have the wonderful thing about family and friends is that you don't have to have be the persona. And also, just that tenacity. Lisa said that she was a slow learner, and I'm like, that's me. It takes me a lot to get something, but just don't give up. So yeah.
So, how has your mother shaped your understanding of emotional strength?
What my mom gave me is work ethic. I've never seen someone work so hard. But she seems to enjoy it. Like my mom's 76 years old. And when I talk to her, she's still never at home. Like she's
On the go. On the
yeah,
go.
she's on the go. And I think sometimes I feel like she moved too much to feel. I don't necessarily think that part is healthy because I think she stuffs, but she has definitely encouraged me that regardless of what it looks like, how hard it seems, you just gotta keep going, girl. You just gotta keep going. And mom, again, she's 76 years old. My mom built a house back in the day when women didn't build their own house. She was a single mom. And she did the thing, Charles. She is still doing the thing. My mom had me in activities in a town where most people thought there's nothing here to do. My mother found us something to do. And so she's just been this phenomenal powerhouse that she doesn't even see herself that way.
Mhm.
She really does.
That's I will say this. That is the thing about our Black women that I always find to be so amazing is that when there is no anything, they're there.
That's right.
They are doing it, and they are going to show you how to do it.
Yeah, that's my mom.
That is the thing that makes them so special. And I tell you, my mom was very special. But as you mentioned, what you were talking about with your mom is my grandmother was that way.
Mm,
And I mean, you know, God bless her soul. I mean, she passed when she was 92, but she was like that powerhouse that you're talking about.
yeah.
Oh boy, let me tell you. If you gonna get it straight with no chaser, you get it straight with no chaser, but she putting you in line too at the same time.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Guaranteed. Black moms, black women, yeah, they do it. Particularly, I think as they get older, they feel like they have a license now to say whatever they want to say. And what you gonna do about it?
Okay. So what values did your mother instill that shows up in your coaching?
The tenacity, the don't give up. The back in the day growing up, we didn't use words like manifest.
Right, right.
But I watched my mother manifest every single thing she wanted. And she would just say it like, I'm an only child because my mother decided before she had kids, she was only going to have one daughter. I said, well, what if I was a boy? She said, you won't gonna be a boy. What? Just determine whatever she set that mind to. Like, I get it. I just time and time. She built the house, and then one day she came home and she goes, "I think I'm gonna knock that wall down." Like, Mama, you cannot knock a wall down in the house. Yes, I'm gonna get a contractor to come out here and tell me if I can. She just anything that mind of hers come up with,
Mhm.
she can make happen. And so that is certainly a part of my coaching is but if you can think about it, if you can think it up, you can bring it about. Because I watch my mom do that over and over again. And there have been times where I'm like, why can't I quite manifest the way my mother does? And I think if someone else was evaluating my life, they would say I do. But when you're in it yourself, you can't see it.
Right.
Um, because one of the things I used to want as a little girl is I was like, I want to see the world.
Mhm.
And I never knew that I would have lived in 4 different countries and travel. Like, since I've been here, we've been to Budapest. I didn't even know what Budapest was before I got here. So the manifesting still, my mom watched her say things and just come to be. And I've been blessed to do that. And so helping my clients realize what you think about, you bring about.
Yep.
What
Put
you
it in the
focus
atmosphere.
on, yeah, what you focus on grows. Um, if you want to see health, a healthy, loving marriage, you can't keep telling me how bad your husband is. Like, it's not.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because we get stuck in our stories.
Yeah.
So my mom really taught me that.
So how do these three women reflect different aspects of your purpose?
Mm. So I think Oprah has taught me that and recently I started saying it too. I remember hearing her say, I'm living the life. I'm living the dreams God had for me. She's like, because I couldn't have dreamed this.
Mhm.
And I remember, Charles, going through a phase where with my business, I was like, Lord, I know I'm out of alignment because nothing was moving. And I had to surrender the business as I saw it to be. And then now have given it to him. And I was like, Lord, I want to live the dreams you have for me. This is when we got the job offer to Germany. The marriage ministry part kicked off. Like, I'm meeting with the minister on Sunday to start trying to do something over here. I want the Oprah taught me to connect to the dreams God had for me, not so much the dreams that I'm trying to have. Um, Lisa Nichols, she teaches me to like systems, get a systematic way of producing things happen. And that's not my strong suit. In fact, I'm praying that part of God's dream for me is to hire that I can hire someone to run that part of the business I don't like. Um, but that's a part of the journey too, right? And but just being connected to my purpose and living life intentional on purpose with a purpose for purpose and to serve other people. Those are the things I think that these three women have really, because my mom is huge on serving people. She's so good at it. My mother is a woman who, if there's anything that happens in her little town,
Mhm.
I remember there was a hurricane, I think it was. And my mother didn't go over to her neighbor's house to say, "Hey, do you all need anything?" She found out that up in the town like area, they was giving out water. When my mom went to give her water, she said to the lady, she said, "Listen, I have older neighbors. They're not gonna get here. I'm gonna need to get some water for them." And she just showed up with the water. Like my mother, she'll think about people, what they need, and then she just do it. She does not go, "Well, you didn't ask me for it. Oh, I didn't." She was like, "Oh, they're gonna need so and so. They're gonna need toilet tissue," and she's just gonna go out and do it. So I'm learning still more of that, but it's making me think more about people than myself because I got that from my mom.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So how do what does Black legacy mean to you personally?
Excellence. Um, it's it's who we really are. It is the us that they don't want us to know about.
Mm.
It it is the us that kind of thank God for social media because for years we wouldn't see that part of us,
Yep.
right? And then when we did, some of us would see it. I remember how sad I was that people would be disappointed that the Cosby Show, they said it wasn't realistic. And I'm like, so you can't even imagine Black life being that excellent when it first came out.
Mhm.
Real Black families don't act like that because you hadn't seen it. And so I'm thankful that like Black legacy and excellence now is something that we can see. And I always say to people, particularly people who don't look like me, why do you still need that thought, belief, and image of me?
Mm.
You've never been robbed. You've never had your purse snatched by a Black man. You might be in a home where your husband's beating the crap out of you. I've been around white women who their sons are beating the crap out of them, but yet you're afraid of my son. Why? Your son
Ooh.
is not beating you. My son has only been kind to you. So
Mhm.
why do you need that ideal of them? And they just look at me like, I said, because at this point, you desire to believe that
Mhm.
because you have so many more examples where it's not true. But so now my question to you is why do you need it? Why do you need to see us in that way to feel good about you? That's your homework assignment.
Ooh, see, I tell you when you need to make sure that I got one more question for you, but you need to make sure that you continue to follow and make sure that next season, which starts in January, we have a new segment that we're going to be introducing, which means now I'll be doing 5 days a week.
Oh
It's
wow.
called Final Word Friday.
Okay.
Final Word Friday is all about hot topics. It's not like a show like what we're doing here, but there will be three people on the panel, and we just talk about the hot topics.
Yeah.
You see, and so it allows for the actual dialogue. That's more than the conversation that a lot of people like to hear, but people can still do the same, chime in with the comments and questions and everything. But that what you're talking about, that's definitely a Final Word Friday situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Last question for you. Um, how do you honor their influence in your work with clients?
I show up and give the best I have to offer, Charles.
Mhm.
Um, because when I tell you my mom gave me her best, and she still is. Like my mother called me the other day and she's like, how much is it gonna cost for y'all to come home? Because she's thinking that we can't buy a ticket. I was like, Mommy, it's not about being able to buy a ticket. It's about being able to get there if we buy a ticket. Just have a heart. Like I have it literally it took me time to learn to have compassion. And I learned the reason I didn't have compassion is because I didn't have compassion for myself. And so now I know how to sit with a person who's in their sadness and allow my discomfort to sit still.
Mhm.
So I try to honor these three women by showing up, being the best I can be, serving well, um, and helping other people transform their marriages or their life. Because I think the greatest thing I learned is if I am stuck in my life, there's a new thought I need. It's not because it, I can't have it. It's just because there's a new thought. I need a new way of thinking. I need a new strategy. And so being able to do that and be that for those who need it. That's my desire.
So, in closing, what are some words of wisdom and encouragement you'd like to leave for our audience, as well as informing them as to how to connect with you on your socials, as well as your website for the services that you offer?
So words of wisdom is I would encourage you that remember that really trouble don't last always. Because right now in America, it can feel never ending. Like I'm over here watching it, and there's a part of me that's really sad for my family that's there. But I keep reminding myself, that trouble doesn't last always. That there is an end date to this thing. Uh, I certainly encourage you, if that you're married, particularly during this time, please don't turn on each other. Turn to each other. It's going to be easy to want to blame someone, and you'll blame your spouse because they're there. But now is the time for you guys to come together. I'm offering a free master class next Thursday night at 6 o'clock. Well, it starts at 5:30. I'm sorry. Just to give you tools and strategies on how to do this marriage thing well. Because so many people struggle in their marriage, not because, again, they have a marriage issue, it's because they have a me issue, or they have a false identity about what marriage is supposed to be. So I would encourage you to join that class so that during these really difficult times, when you guys should be back to back fighting the enemy without, that you're not fighting within each other like in the house. And then lastly, you can contact me at berrythoughtfullife.com. So my last name is Berry, not Berry, but berrythoughtfullife.com. And all my socials are the same thing, berrythoughtfullife.com. And I would love to offer free consultation or just be there for you.
Well, I want to thank you for, giving us some of your time, especially at the time of you just transitioning over to a new place. And it's always good to see you. And
You're
I am very, very happy that we could do this show. Um, for those of you that are watching, I am encouraging you to please make sure you reach out and you connect with Caneisha, because I think each and every last one of us at some point in time are going to need some of these services to help us to at least maneuver and to move a little bit better. Because, as she said, tough times don't happen always, but you're not always up on cloud nine all the time either.
true.
So I think it's definitely one of those things that you all should be reaching out to do. I want to thank you all for spending this time with us on this wonderful Friday night. This special was definitely worth doing, and again, we all should give thanks to Kanisha for putting out these words and these tools to help us all during this holiday season. And remember to think to be um, about as responsible as possible. Do not go out there spending all that money.
Please don't.
Uh, so just so you know, for those of you that are watching on all of our 8 streaming channels, including the YouTube channels, if you have not yet subscribed, please support us by subscribing to our channel as well as enabling all notifications. You'll be able to catch all shows live as well as go back and watch all of the previous recorded shows. And please continue to give us this feedback, give us some comments as we're doing shows. We definitely appreciate it. As I mentioned, we also have a new segment that we're premiering on Friday, July 6th, say January 16th. That is going to be Final Word Fridays. It is where we talk about the hot topics for the week or whatever our panelists would love to discuss. We do it in a social manner, and you will also be allowed to have your best beverage while we're chatting. Um, if you have not yet subscribed to either our community or our magazines, please go and do that as well. And we want to continue to bring you what Black excellence and a Black legacy is to look like. Please join us. Stay involved. You guys have a great weekend. Thank you again, Kanisha. And we will see you guys on Monday on American Black and White, where we will continue to color conversations on the canvas of America.